In a real way, Ta'leef as a community was born out of a regular Sunday night session that we used to have, where we would read a text called the Book of Assistance. It was authored by Imam Abdullah bin Ali al-Haddad, a famous scholar in the Muslim tradition from southern Yemen. May God be well pleased with him. A brilliant book about practical spirituality. And we taught that book, and it started out as a small group of people, then it just kind of grew. And in that process, it went from sometimes very, very serious students of knowledge with maybe a guest or two to a very diverse crowd. You have everyone from people that are committed Muslims and committed seekers and students of knowledge to people who are just visitors, just checking stuff out. And when you're addressing those people, you have to be able to speak in a universal language and speak in an accessible language. God says in the Quran, "We did not send any messenger except with the tongue of his people." And the commentators say on that tongue doesn't only refer to the language, because naturally, in order for people to understand you, you have to speak the same language that they speak. They have to understand the words that you're using. But the commentators say that it also includes a cultural context and understanding the culture of the people that one is attempting to convey a message to. So the kind of the way that our classes at Ta'leef became named with present tense verbs was a way to force ourselves to say that if you're teaching this class, what does that class look like in action? What does that knowledge look like once it has been translated, it has been transmitted, it has been digested, and then that person now translates it into something real in their life. Being Muslim, living right, speaking Arabic, knowing the Prophet, cultivating mindfulness, breaking bread, even the workshops that we do, we want them to be workshops that have this present tense verb in it. So living right. We could talk about spirituality all day long. And you can talk about abstract realities all day long. And you can talk about spiritual experience all day long. But if that's not translating into something real in your life, if that's not translating into a better relationship with your mother and your father and your siblings and your spouse and your children and your neighborhood and your city and your state and your country and the world and the cosmos, then of what benefit is your spirituality? We try to create a space in Sunday night, in general at Ta'leef, but particularly Sunday night at Living Right, that can be a real authentic space. So not only in terms of the transmission of what's taught, but also the conversations that happen after the teacher gives the comments. So, it's kind of a new idea in some ways and a really old idea in others, that there's got to be conversation and creating a space for people to ask questions that may be very, very difficult and have conversations in exchange that may be sometimes painful, but ultimately very beautiful, to be able to talk about things that are real, that are authentic, And so, when you get beyond the niceties of fluffy pretend discourse and start talking about real authentic stuff, like what's going on in people's life. And so, that's kind of part of I think the important element is really trying to be authentic and real. One of the success measures for us in terms of living right is what's happening with people when they go home. This young brother came to Living Right for the first time, and his sister called the next day, and she said, "I just wanted to thank you all, because for the first time in my life, after going to the class, my little brother came home and cleaned his bedroom and hugged me and told me that he loved me." And those things can be easily lost in a convoluted religious discourse. I think every teacher's hope, a sincere teacher, may God make us sincere, but every sincere teacher's hope is that they can just be a conduit. They can just be a channel, a means by which God brings about something profound in the people listening or learning. That it's not really from them, but it's Allah using them to bring benefit to the people and to bring benefit to the people that are listening. Like the man who got up on the pulpit and he looked up around the congregation and he just said, "Allah," and everybody started weeping. And someone came, that's all he said. So someone came up after, they said, what's your secret? How do you do it? He said, "I don't know what you're talking about." He said, "Everyone just started weeping. All he said was Allah." He said, "I just looked around the room and realized I was the biggest sinner out of everybody. I was the worst person in the room. And I said, Allah." Because that's a heart that's been humbled. Compare that to someone who thinks that they've got the secrets to the universe and they know everything that's wrong with you and why you're messed up, and they're going to tell you. If they could just be more like them, you'd be saved, you'd be fine. Those are deluded people. Those are deluded people. A sincere teacher wants to just get out of the way. And that's what living right is about.